Welcome to the Foxcatcher Review Show. My name's Julian Balance, joined in the studio by Clint Hutchie Hutchison from Racing.com. How are you? How was Caulfield?
Yeah, it was really good, actually. What a great day. They had a little bit of a theme going with all the cowboys out there. Ranch, get out there.
Right in your sort of wheelhouse, isn't it?
But I tell you what, there's a good vibe, good crowd. Once again, I'll tell you what, there was a lot of young kids there.
Good.
For the day.
That's
when
great.
I say young kids, I'm talking, maybe teenagers or
Yep.
early 20s, whatever.
Yep.
But no, it was good to see. And I think they knew their form. They were shouting plenty home as well.
Yeah, good. Well, it was a good day. I think this day could just be okay in the end. Talk about the Orr Stakes a little bit later, but, you had two top quality horses there in that race. And obviously the field wasn't that big, but I just think through time, this 1,400 metre race could
maybe
develop.
3-2 evaporates pretty good.
Yeah.
I think the conditions the week before at Flemington
that
probably
caused a bit of an issue in terms of
there was one or two more that could have certainly got there, and I think that can happen any year. But I liked it.
It's got hope.
I think it works.
Yeah, I think they tried the Rupert Clark there, and I was very much against that, and I'm glad it's gone back to its traditional. I think 1,000 Guineas they tried, and I'm glad it's gone back. This one, I think I'm comfortable with it being there. I think it's pretty cool. All right, Hutch, let's get into the track and how this played. Out 6 metres the entire circuit, good for throughout. I thought played really well. Maybe if I want to be really picky, maybe forward of midfield an advantage, maybe especially shoot. But you seem to be able to win from everywhere.
Yeah, I thought early on it was more on pace. I still think it was a good spot to be. But
Caulfield, traditional Caulfield.
Exactly. It's going to be that way just with the way the track plays. But I think when you look at the overall picture, played really fair. I will say this, I think by the last few races, the inside had chopped away a little bit. I think the ground probably lanes 1 to 4 for those last few races. I'd be a little bit more forgiving of those. How much is hard to tell.
Yep.
We'll know in time. But I think, you could see horses covering ground there and that middle part of the track late.
I think that's a really good shout for the punters out there. So maybe I'd be forgiving for those horses back on the inside in those last few races. Let's get to the hen house. Some races we want to be with here, Hutch. Race 4, winner was Boston Rocks, quarter of a second inside standard time. Last 400, 200, pretty good, as you can see on screen. 11.5 won the winner. I think it's got some hope, this race.
Yeah, it was really good. The front three, they drew well clear of the rest, didn't they? A little bit unlucky hedged, but Boston Rocks was really good. Not unlucky that he would have won. He wouldn't have won, but he would have.
If he takes the run of Boston Rocks and gets to the outside of obviously the leader we're talking here, Beast Mode, which we knew what was going to do and lead, was it the difference? Or you still think Boston Rocks holds?
I think he had him.
Yep.
But it's
Margins.
guesswork, isn't it? Yeah, it's a bit of guesswork. Yeah. So the winner was pretty good. It was a great ride for Mick D, actually.
You didn't have much luck last start in Sydney. I think it was the Kosciuszko lead up to the Kosciuszko, one of those races. Didn't have much luck in that last 200 metres.
They got a few of those up there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I'm disappointed that you can't remember all the names, actually. Ask Nico. He'll know what they are.
Big dance, barn dance. There's a few.
Oh, yeah.
But this race, I think we can be with it a bit of confidence. So Beast Mode's a really interesting horse. We can talk about this horse, and I think he was a really interesting talking point for many people who wanted to bet into the race because he'd have those enormous numbers at 1,000 metres at Moonee Valley. I think as the track continued to dry out, you could see, okay, you want to be with him. But Big Money wanted to be with Hedged at the death. They wanted to just pounce into it. It was third up. You felt like it was I backed it. I thought that was its moment.
Yeah.
I don't know if it gets another moment now.
Oh, really?
Well, this is the thing when we talk about this, that I thought that was the perfect setup. Now, it might still have won the race.
I've got to ask you about this because do you have isn't every horse a little different in terms of when you want to be with them? Some might be a good third up. Some can run third through sixth up in a campaign and be just as effective.
100%. And I think this camp probably be fine deeper into a prep as well.
Yeah.
Bedgegood camp, no issue there. I just thought this race really set up well with how I thought it would be. And maybe that race another one doesn't pop up for it again. But if it does in 2 weeks' time or whatever they go, yeah, absolutely, I could be with it again. But I really thought that was its moment.
Yeah, well, he ran super, so I think you were right.
Race is rated really well, can't knock it. What would you do with Beast Mode? Because now is the theory, well, we sort of had every possible to run 1,100 there. We've got beaten. He hasn't run poorly. Let's put that into perspective as well. But do we now, if you want to be backing Beast Mode, are you waiting for 1,000 metres now?
Well, look, I think at 1,100 you need a lot in your favour because it's at the end of his spectrum, obviously.
Yes.
So we see a lot of tracks particularly in the months coming up where on pace and inside will be a good spot to be at different tracks.
Yep.
I don't know what the options are, but the one thing that was pleasant about the overall performance, like it rated pretty much in line with where he's been going.
Yeah.
It wasn't that far off what he's been doing. He just, the 1,000 he's better suited to, but he can win an 1,100 if he gets the right setup.
Yes. Yeah, and I think you're right too with the drying tracks. As we know, it can just be that's where you want to be. You want to be on speed, and it's the hardest to get past because you're going at a pretty good clip. So, agree with that. This race goes in. It's overall time horrible because they just went so slow. I speak of race 7, Sheza Alibi, 1.5 seconds outside standard time here, Hutch. But this is the bit that lights off the page, which it should do. 22.30, 11.06, which gives this horse hope. It's absolutely put a hole in him, like what the market said it would do. It was $1.90 into $1.50. I think we still don't know where the best of her is.
No, we don't. And she's shown that she's got an unbelievable turn of foot on, and her closing sectionals were the best of the day, which they were entitled to be off that pathetic pace. I don't know. I was a bit surprised he didn't lead, to be honest.
You start to create it's not your own destiny, is it, when you don't lead? Like all of a sudden, the run comes and it's 5 and it wins by 8 or something.
But it might not have.
That's the thing. So
it might not have come. And a lot of the times it won't come. I mean, it didn't
better
come.
Better class horses it won't.
Well, and it didn't early in the day for him on Blinded by the Light. I'm not singling out Luke Nolan, but I mean, I hear them post-race and they're talking about, it was second run with the blinkers, didn't want to fire it up, but this is an issue. It could potentially be worse in a race run this slowly with blinkers on again, handing up to something else and over racing.
At hundreds probably.
Lead on your terms. Yeah. You're on the $1.50 favourite.
Yeah.
And who's to say that she won't learn something by doing that as well?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they got away with one there, to be honest with you. Luckily, the leader sort of came off the rail.
Yeah.
But getting back to her, I don't want to be, having a crack at the rider, but she is, I think to win off by that margin, off that speed.
Yeah, you don't see it too often, do you?
That's unbelievable. You've got to be really good.
Worried about the ones behind. I'm worried about them.
Yeah, they're not much good at it.
Yeah, which the market identified. There's no doubting that. So she probably still hasn't ticked the 1,600 metre box yet, has she?
No,
really off that? Yeah.
But she relaxed pretty well off that speed. But once again, I mean, you'd love to see her have potentially led. Like, who's to say that she couldn't go forward and dictate over a mile and then kick like that? I mean, we don't know what the ceiling is. It's really interesting. I did hear Peter Moody on the radio, talking about their preparations in the autumn.
I hope the Australian Guineas is in that mix.
That's where he wants to go.
Okay, great.
And I think he's going to take the 1,000 Guineas when more down that Sydney path.
Yeah.
So he didn't sort of give away which one he had a better opinion of.
Ole Dancer. It's the one, the horse we're talking of,
But you know what? She'll take a bit of eating in the Australian Guineas.
Yeah, absolutely. No, she's a ripper, I think. So I don't know whether she goes to the paddock or would they say one more for her?
Very light, I think, because there's not much of a gap, is there?
No, it's not.
I think it's 2 or 3 weeks and then they come back. But I like that as well. I like that she's had a sort of later campaign, so then she comes back.
Yep.
I like that residual.
Yeah, I like that. This race goes in, race 8. It was the ORR Stakes. It was won by Jimmysstar. A second inside standard time, last 400, 200, pretty good here, Hutch. He's a bloody good horse.
Yeah, I think he's the best 1,400 metre horse in Australia, surely.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. He has to be.
Is there one better? I mean, I know 10 tires people will say maybe that.
Well, I mean, I think you're starting to say that number that Jolly Star, I think, might have done in the Newmarket, starting to fall off the cliff a little bit with her. You'd be hoping 10 Tyrus gets to some level, but where Jimmy is ahead of him right now.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
No, I think he is, and he might get a bit further too. Who knows? I don't know what their options will be.
He's got that. I mean, he's one of those ones where he runs on and you go, okay, we'll be better at 1,600, but I still think he's bloody so dynamic at 12 and 1,400.
Fair call.
And the other thing to that is we have a plethora, I think, of 1,400 metre bloody Group 1 races that he can just continue to go in.
Yeah, he can. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, he'll be. He's a superstar, and I love the ride. I tell you what, this kid.
This is the thing. We spoke about this on the preview show with Ashman, and I was like, if Angel Capital goes behind Jimmysstar and he hasn't got him to his left, hasn't got him in a pocket, there's just no way he can get past Jimmysstar. Jimmysstar's just too electric.
Yeah,
and as good as Angel Capital's run, you can't be giving him head starts.
No,
because he's just going to be too good.
And that was the case.
And that could have been because of the barrier or whatever, but that's going to be Angel Capital's issue, because he's probably going to keep running into this horse, isn't he?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so. I don't know where they'd go with Angel Capital, but why you got Jimmysstar at 1,400, that's an issue for you. But, I mean, he ran to where he's been going.
Yeah.
Look, what's your take on, people saying, which is fair enough, it's a question, like he's had a couple of grand finals and they're going again. That could be a little query because I know you're a bit of a grand final
Well,
man.
no, so here's the thing. We didn't talk about grand finals until probably Chris Waller brought this up and said, you know what, we're all about the grand finals. And now I think a lot of us get sucked into this grand final thing. And I use the example of Incentivise, who won a 1,600-metre, Mackay, went and won a Turnbull, then won a Caulfield Cup and then broke down in a Melbourne Cup. Like, you can continue to repeat and repeat and repeat. So I think it's more of a narrative from certain trainers, I think.
Yeah.
I think one of those trainers is not Kieran Maher. I don't think he believes in that.
Do you reckon Chris Waller's a frustrated rugby coach or something? You reckon he wants to be in another line?
Well, don't put it beyond him to end up like taking a team to the NRL.
I'm with you. I'm like, they can maintain a level around about where they're at. It might not be their peak figure, might not be their peak performance. But, I mean, the thing with Jimmysstar there prior to that race on the weekend, his body of work, this prep, in its entirety was better than Angel Capital had done.
Yeah.
Or taking into consideration that he should have won the Sir Rupert Clarke. But I don't know.
Yeah, and I think hopefully this spring maybe we can start to just try and park that grand final chat because the winner of the Caulfield Cup and Melbourne Cup had been up forever. Do you know what I mean? And you could suggest it exploded in a naturalism, and you could say, well, that was its peak run. It can't ever do that again. And then maybe it did run flat in a Caulfield Cup, but I tell you what, it's still gone again in a Melbourne Cup and won really convincingly. So hopefully we can sort of put that to bed. And look, there's always going to be narrative around certain things to try and justify why people make a selection. If that's the reason why they want to go back Angel Capital for, that's why we've got a marketplace.
And in fairness, I suppose to the flip side of it, I can understand why they do it with the Chris Waller a little bit and why he might say it because his horse is probably more than anyone else. They might go bang first up. They seem to, they can just dip a bit and then, what he does. So for that particular salmon, maybe Chris is right. Maybe it does work for that yard. But I just think be very careful because Kieran Maher can keep them up for a long time and he can keep them producing similar numbers. And I reckon that horse, that was as good a performance as we've seen all prep for me.
No doubt. It's outstanding. Let's get to a couple of races that I'm a bit worried about going forward. And guess what? It's a staying race I'm going to start with here, Hutch. The winner was Black Run, who ended up, it was really interesting, I think, going past the post the first time. I was surprised and I was always a bit worried going, oh my God, lane one's going to be dynamite here because Ryan Houston goes, I don't want to be outside leader. I want to go back and take leaders back, which was lane one. And then obviously he gets the run through. Second outside standard time. They haven't broken 12 last 200. I think you could say winner only. And then I'm really worried about the rest.
Yeah, I think that's a fair call. I'm not going to be too critical about this because the same horses will line up again.
Yeah, and this is the thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so you bag the race, but the problem is they all run against each other again. But look, Black Run, last two wins have been good.
Yes.
2,000, showed a bit of tenacity, 2,400 there, and I thought it was okay. I wasn't blown away with it, but I wouldn't be as harsh as you, but I aren't in general. So that's not a real surprise.
It's very good. This race, you've got to agree with me here. I'm worried about this one going forward. Rumbled again wins the race. 1.5 seconds outside standard time, and again, they can't break 12. Sometimes bunch finishes can be, misleading, but this one was a bunch finish, and I'm worried about this one, mate.
Yeah, I was going to say dog something, and then I thought maybe fox poo. Does that sound okay? Can we run with that? What an
fox droppings.
Fox droppings.
It's
not good.
Like I think what we're saying here is when we see this race, when you see these horses again, let's try and get a different form on. I think, let's something from somewhere else because there's not much here. I think what we can sort of say.
Can I have that 5 minutes of my life back? Leading into that race and during it. And
I think we can sort of say as well is Roll on High will always be this horse that'll run on at 1,400, but it just doesn't get 1,600 because it presented to win that race and it didn't do anything.
Yeah.
That's my theory.
It's a long. I know. I don't know with it. I don't know about the whole race. I was sort of, Roland High was so much better than on the better form, but I don't know. I don't know about her. I really. Yeah. You know what? I'll just give myself a headache, and I don't need another one.
Yeah, let's not talk about it anymore.
Let's just move on.
This one I've put in, but I'd be interested in your thoughts because the last 200's okay. The winner was proved, and again, I've got it just pretty close to standard time, but over this kind of distance, I want them to be sort of running a bit quicker or coming home a bit better. In saying that, I think this horse has got some progression, and I talk of proved.
Well, the winning strike rate, what is it, 6 from 7 now? I mean, it's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I sort of went over the line, I was thinking, to get double check what I'd priced it because I'm thinking, why haven't I had something on this?
Yeah.
At that price, and the numbers weren't horrible. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Mine made it blue. I thought Aviatrix could run well.
Yeah, maybe Gate beats her, maybe Aviatrix. She just sort of had to go that bit further back, but that's sort of her anyway.
Yeah.
Like that's her sort of go.
Yeah. I think the winner deserved the win. There was one in the race though that was worth talking about.
Go on.
Was it Vestas was in this race?
Vestas was in this race. What are we doing with it?
Were you with Vestas?
No, wasn't because I didn't know. I don't know the placement of this horse. This horse has got a sort of lowly rating. I'd love to see it in a benchmark 84 or a benchmark 90, but it seems to be always on these set weight and penalty races where it's just way out of the handicap. It's got ability, but I don't know what that ability.
It does have ability.
I don't know what that relates to though when it's starting the price as it's starting.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was happy to take her on the price, mainly because it just gets back and needs a lot to go its way. And I tell you what, the checklist for this horse now has just got even bigger because it apparently doesn't like other horses, doesn't like being around them, doesn't want to go inside, doesn't want to do this, doesn't want to do that. I mean, so to the punters out there, when you got a horse like this, it's buyer beware. There's an engine there, there's a motor, but if you need all these things to go right, you also need a price.
Yes.
So
and you're not getting it with this horse at all. You're just not.
I think that powerful finish in some of these other races is just, getting people in, which is fair enough to a point. But I think, the post race, I'm thinking, oh God, it was pretty ordinary to be honest.
Yeah, no, definitely agree with that. Vestas. All right, Hutch, let's get to the points bet trading floor. Hits and misses at Caulfield on Saturday. Let's see, do we want to continue to be with these horses or was it because of it was the perfect storm for them on Saturday? In the first, just like Gabby, $5.50 into $3.80. They hammered this horse, I thought. It was third up. It was disappointing last start. It ran fifth and it was well in the market. I'm off her.
Every possible? No, I won't be with her again.
Yep. Race 2, Hot to Go. This horse is going to roll forward, so maybe that was the reason. $8 into $4.80, unplaced. I wouldn't be with her. I mean, we don't like the race.
Don't like the race. No, I'm not with her. And beat, what was it, Amlito, the start before he got beat as a short price favourite the day after.
Race 3, Nearing Liberty, 6 into 3.10. Why was it back touch? Well, it had to be just map related, didn't it?
On pace. Yeah, but consistent horse. There'll be one for it.
C. Williams went on too, so it was a big jockey, significant upgrade. So obviously the market wanted to push into that space, but also had the map advantage over Segura Rock and Skipper's Canyon, but that didn't give it success. Race 4, Hedged, as we spoke about earlier, they hammered this horse, $3.30 into $2.55. It runs second. It's gone well though, hasn't it?
It has, and
we'll hear about it later.
We'll hear about it soon enough.
Race 5, Blinded by the Light, $7.50 into $4.40. One that got away.
Stick.
Yeah. It was on the quick 7-day back up, so we might need to be careful. I might want to see this in 3 weeks or whether they've gone to the paddock. I don't know.
Yep.
But that was its moment. I think sometimes you only get that moment once in a prep. That could have been it. Race 6, Aviatrix, 6 into $3.90. Misses but runs second but runs well.
Yep, second up next time will go well, go close.
Yep. Sheza Alibi, $1.90 into $1.50. We spoke about her a lot. And Jimmysstar, obviously, $2.10 into $1.65. Has the map advantage over Angel Capital. Those two are very good horses.
Yep, very good horses, and we've already touched on those.
We have. Let's get to the Fox's Den, mate. You've got 3 for us.
Yeah, and I've already touched on a few of these. I think Hedged is worth sticking with. The overall time was good. I like the way the front 3 drew clear. The rest, Aviatrix will strip fitter. And in the last, Dark Simba, I thought ran pretty well. Just first up, probably bruised with the run. I think there's a race in it. I don't mind the last race, actually, for that level of horse.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think there'll be some winners out of that.
Yeah, that's not too bad at all. I'm going off Broadway here, Hutch, as usual. Torretino won a maiden at Warrnambool. I've got it going really big. I think we can follow it. Hopefully they go to a 64 or something like that. That'll be nice. Icaro, we were doing this on a Wednesday at Caulfield Heath. It's ran second, this horse, but it's a big track horse.
Yeah.
So it just didn't get around the Heath very well. I think if they can find a race at Sandown or Pakenham, wouldn't be surprised to see this horse again, maybe on Pakenham Cup Day, something like that. Be with it. I reckon we can get a price. Maiden winner as Marley. I think it's a nice horse. Doubtland Diva won the same day. Mornington. Be with both of those winners. They're really good. And the last two come out of a race from Wodonga.
Okay,
Wodonga maiden, so we might have to go beaten track. We might even have to go up north of the border. They might go to Coral or somewhere weird like that, so we just be keep an eye on it.
Where that is.
Correct, me neither. Very Torquay and Think I'm a Celebrity. They ran second and third. I think both of them can knock off their maiden. Hutch,
I like it.
Thank you very much. Hutchie out, Ashman in. G'day, Nick Ashman. Newcastle was on Saturday. They had their big meeting there, obviously, for the Hunter. The track was in the true position the entire circuit. We raced on a good 4 throughout the day. What was the intel for the punters and how this track played, mate?
Yeah, look, it was pretty even. It was a little bit up and in. We had winners spreading from lane 1 right out to lane 11, Jules. So there was no massive bias per se, but I did know that 5 of the 10 winners were in lanes 1 to 3.
Yep.
And so it probably, and given that 4 leaders won and only 3 horses came from more than 3 lengths off the pace at the 600, I think it's safe to say it was an advantage to be up and in, but it wasn't impossible to make ground if the circumstances permitted.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of horses that we want to follow for the punters out there, that what we can put into our back pocket. Now, they might have been from Newcastle. They might have been from somewhere else off the beaten track. You've got 4 horses. Take us through them, mate.
Okay, I'll start with the more orthodox approach and look at Saturday. So Joe Pride's team's just airborne at present, and he's pretty airborne on Twitter as well if you go and have a look there too. So he doesn't mind engaging with the bottom feeders, that's for sure. And it's something I've fallen victim of myself in the past, and he's really ripping into him. So good on you, Joe. But Estadio Mastala is a horse that I think it had its first run this preparation back in like April or May or something. But typical of Joey, because he doesn't work him much in between runs. He sort of just lets them bowl around and come home 37 seconds their last 600 metres. This horse is probably going as well as it's ever gone, really deep into a preparation. Produced the fastest last 1,800 metres of the day. He ran in the Hunter. It was unplaced. I think he ran 6th. And he ran also the second fastest last 200 metres of the day. Now, the reason why I'm pointing out those 3 different things is when you run a strong last 800 or 1,000, it's usually a sign of a good solid tempo where you've been able to blend in off that tempo, particularly over a 1,300 metre race. When you're also coupling that with a really strong last 200 metres, it means you're just airborne, because not only are you going well for the last 1,000, but you're also ripping through the line in that last 200 metres, whereas some horses, you've got to remember, are sitting and sprinting over the last 400 metres. This horse has done it from the 1,000 and it's still doing it on the line. So I think he's going really well. I don't know if a Villiers or a Ningham will be up his alley, but certainly the Festival Stakes in a couple of weeks' time over 1,500 metres. The other horse is one that was on my bets, and that's God's Window.
Yeah.
Again, he over-raced. It's something that they're going to have to iron out. I'm stating the obvious there, being a mile and a half horse. But he still finished second in that 2,300 listed race. He clocked the 12th fastest last 200 metres of the day, which for a staying race is pretty good. And that last 200 metres was 3 lengths above standard. Now, he's in the right camp to learn how to iron out those idiosyncrasies he's got. And speaking of Chris Waller, of course. I think if Chris can get his head right and get him to drop his head, this is the horse that will win the Christmas and Summer Cups for you. So we'll see where he progresses. And he might even go up another level. We might even see him freshen up and play in the autumn. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He's that kind of horse that I can see if they can get his head right, they can get him to settle, he could be winning these races comfortably and looking at bigger and better things during carnival time.
And then so you look at the carnival and then you go, okay, well, this time in 12 months' time, he'd be a horse that you would be hoping that he could get to a Metrop or something like that with time.
I think so. That's sort of what Chris does. I mean, he might even whisk him up to Brisbane for a winter prep in some of those sort of, is it not the Grand Prix, or I forget the name of the race. They've got a couple of 2,200 metre races up there.
They've got the QE22 and things like that usually the
Correct.
good
Lord
ones
Mayor's
go
Cup,
to. Yep.
Those things. So he might go there. He might also have a crack at like the Chairman's in Sydney.
Yep.
He might just sort of give him a freshen up 2 runs into a 2,600 metre race. There's a few options for him. Now, outside of those 2 from Saturday, go back to last Wednesday at Rose Hill. There was a horse called Plaintiff for one race 3, which was a 1,200 metre maiden. This horse was on debut. They scratched one I didn't mind in the race, and this thing was off the map. Now, when they back a horse on debut off the map in what looks to be a decent race, it's usually a good sign.
Yeah.
In those good Fairway thoroughbreds colours that we saw, Fairway obviously carried a victory about 25 years ago, and he, or she, I should say, was outstanding. Beat standard time pretty comfortably here by a couple of lengths, but the last 600 metres was 6.5 lengths inside standard, best of the meeting. Last 200 metres was 3.5 lengths above benchmark. This is a filly that you can 100% follow wherever Peter Snowden takes her over the summer months. I'd be jumping on her. And the other one that I'm going to give you, and this is real left field stuff, we go to Port Macquarie on a Thursday. Now, They have a bit of racing up in the northern part of the woods. For those that aren't familiar with New South Wales, most sort of people that do what I do tend to focus on provincial and metro. The country tracks like Port Macquarie, unless it's the Port Macquarie Cup, you really get the Chris Wallers and even the Bjorn Bakers, who doesn't mind travelling a bit, Bjorny. They don't really go up that neck of the woods because it's geographically impossible. It's not like Victoria. It's a big state, New South Wales. But we're going to have a look up at here, and I'm going to try and pick a couple out over these Northern Rivers areas in the coming months. Race 2 was a maiden handicap last Thursday, over 1,000 metres. A horse that came up having its first start in New South Wales from Victoria, Myriad, joined the Nathan Doyle stable. Best splits of the meeting between the 6 and the 4 and the 4 and the 2. Smashed out in time overall, or smashed out in time by about 2 lengths. Last 600 metres was nearly 10 lengths above standard. This is a horse that's going to win better races. I think Nathan Doyle's looking to bring him through the grades, and if he does that, he'll be starting short and winning everywhere he goes. He's a good multi one for you over the summer.
Love that off the beaten track for those summer months, the punters out there. Hey, mate, Larry's letterbox. Carrier pigeons have been coming through. They want to ask about a horse called Sun God, which you put into the Fox's Den a couple of starts ago.
Yeah, look, he's an interesting one because he won really well, I think, 2-3 starts ago. And then when we sort of suggested to follow him, he didn't actually run that well. And then we jumped off him, and, of course, Newton's law of punting suggests that that's when they go back and win again. So I drilled down, and when he won 2-3 starts ago, he won off a very slow tempo, but we made the point that he showed really good turn of foot, which is a promising sign for a stayer. Then he struck a faster run race and was a bit ordinary. On Saturday, he went back to a really slowly run 1,850-metre race and produced, I think, either the best or second best last 400 and 200 metres of the day. So clearly he's a horse that can stay, but he needs a slow tempo.
Yeah.
Message here is only back him when he's in races with soft tempo, and be wary of backing him if he's really short in the market, because when he's short, he's going to be a target. The other jockeys know how to get him beaten now. So he's probably more a horse you want to back when he's $8 to $10 and gets that slow or that right race shape.
Love that. There's plenty in that for the New South Wales punters. Thank you, Nick Ashman. I will see you Thursday. It's Kembla Grange, the Gong.
The Gong, from the Hunter to the Gong. So they're good meetings, these ones, though. Plenty of good horses will come out of it. The other one that from Saturday, Green Spaces, was good for us.
Really good.
He did put a space in them as well.
And was backed off the absolute map, to be honest. It was a big crush. So that might have been you starting that trend. Love ya. See you next week.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.